Hi, good morning. Let's talk about 2025. Let's talk about 2025 travel and meetup plans. We're just on the tail end, or we just completed the Exodus Summit meetup in Vietnam, where 75 to 80 Black women from the Exodus Summit community got together in Vietnam, in Hoi An, Vietnam, and had a wonderful time. So let's talk about other travel plans for the year, other meetup plans for the year, and stuff like that. I'm in Las Vegas. Let's see. You can see Caesar's Palace out the window and the chair. I'm in Las Vegas doing one of the travel things that I needed to do this year. So I thought we would talk about other travel plans for the year. And I'll let you know, if you don't already know, that in the Exodus Summit Vietnam meetup, we scheduled the next meetup for Exodus Summit women. So that's what I just want to talk about today. I thought we would just kick back and talk about our travel plans until through the third quarter anyway, through a good part of 2025. Okay, how's that sound to you? Good morning. Good morning, Love Liaison 65. Good morning, Tiana and Charla and Dorita. Oops. Good morning, Catrice. Good morning, Cree Girl, Ayana, Consuela. Hey, Right Equity. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Dropping Knowledge Bombs. Hey, Francine, Fran's Journey to Free. Hey, Lovey and Nisha and the Classy Hacker. If you don't know, one of the only rules here is that you say good morning, okay? When you're here, you say hello to everyone. If you're watching the replay, hello, friends in the future. I hope it's awesome there. Say hello in the comments, please. Thank you. All right, how's everyone doing? It's 7 a.m. in Las Vegas, okay? So I'm doing as well as I can be doing at 7 a.m. So jet lag is kind of sneaking up on me. I feel like the first day I got back to Las Vegas, I was fine, but it was the second, third, fourth day. I think I'm on day 5, where I'm like, I don't think I'm back on schedule yet. One of my, what I would call superpowers, one of my superpowers usually is that I can take a nap at any time, but that's kind of been a problem this time because I can take a nap, but I haven't been sleeping full nights yet. I'm not back to sleeping a full 8-hour night schedule. I'm sleeping a couple hours here, a couple hours there. So I need to fix that, because the first thing, speaking of meetups and stuff, the next thing that I need to be at is our caravan to Mexico. Tomorrow, I'm caravanning to Mexico with some members of Exodus ASAP, the Exodus Summit membership. We're caravanning to Mexico to go to get our residency in Mexico through the regularization process. 9 of us are going across the border in San Diego. So tomorrow I fly to San Diego and we're crossing the border into Tijuana to get our residency through regularization. So I need to get on schedule. We're staying in a house together and it's going to be a nice time, but I can't be on this schedule. I can't still be like sleep 2 hours here, then get up and then sleep 2 hours there. I got to get myself on schedule. All right. Okay. So what's new? So, Halisi, our Black Utopia. Wait, 2 things. Hold on. Hold that thought, Halisi. Dropping Knowledge Bombs. I'm a member of Exodus ASAP. Can't wait to see how ladies go through the process. Hi, I don't know who this is because I don't know who's dropping knowledge bombs on YouTube in the membership, but hi. Yeah, we'll be sharing info. So inside of the membership, we'll be sharing the experience and sharing our data. We're using 2 different facilitators on 2 different days. So we'll have some different experiences to share with everybody in the Exodus ASAP membership. So that's good. Okay, so let's talk about, so that's the first thing, the first like event or meetup or thing is that we're getting together in San Diego. We're rallying in San Diego and caravanning into Mexico, and that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. It's probably too late for you to join Exodus ASAP to go with us tomorrow. But there are quite a few women inside the membership who are doing this in May, not with me. I'm doing this tomorrow because I'm getting my residency in Mexico too. Not because I'm moving to Mexico, but because Mexican residency is beneficial. And because and like it's a good thing to have in your arsenal if you don't have residency somewhere else yet. And because I qualify and that, right? So I'm doing that tomorrow, but some women in the membership are doing it in May. I know at least 3 who are doing it in May, and I hope that they are working together to do this together if they want. You know, it's always nice to have a buddy with you. The buddy system is always more helpful. So if you want to get into the Exodus ASAP membership and do a caravan with the women who are going in May, then I would go ahead and join the Exodus ASAP membership. Let me tell you how to do that. Let me get a link. It's exodusasap.com. This is our paid membership. This is not our free group. This is our paid membership. It is for Black women who are planning their exodus, for Black women who are ready to make progress in their Move Abroad plan. March is residency month. April is language learning month. And we're working on these things together. So women in the group have accountability buddies so that they can make progress together. Let me do this. I'm doing it. I'm waking up. March is residency month. ExodusASAP.com if you want some support in getting residency or other parts of your Move Abroad plan. We work on the full Peace Out protocol, 8 steps to the Peace Out protocol. If you want to make progress on any of those steps, you're welcome to join us in Exodus ASAP. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing. So that's March and maybe May for some of you. March and maybe May, Tijuana, Mexico, well, like San Diego into Tijuana together, okay? Good afternoon, Halisi. Our Black Utopia is meeting up in June in Portugal, then meeting up in Mexico this fall. Now, I don't know if you know this, Halisi, but during the meetup in Vietnam, Krishan and Rashida and I decided to do a mashup meetup between Exodus Summit and Blacksit Global in Lisbon, Portugal, October 24th. Everybody, mashup meetup. Exodus Summit and Blacksit Global are hosting a meetup in Lisbon, Portugal on October 24th. This is a different kind of meetup than the most recent. This is more like our other meetups. It's a one-day thing at a restaurant. Make sure that you're in the Exodus Summit community so that you can hear info. If you're a man, you need to make sure that you're following Blacksit Global. And I would get on her newsletter, get on Krishan's newsletter so that you get the information about that meetup. We're only going to publicly share the location and the time there. So I would go to blacksitglobal.com if you're a man. Okay, Exodus Summit is only for Black women, but this is going to be a co-ed meetup. So if you're a man, I would go to blacksitglobal.com, and when that little pop-up box pops up that says, when that pop-up box pops up that says subscribe to our mailing list, I would do that. And I would also get in the membership, the Blacksit Global Passport. I'd get in the membership so that you can get information. We don't do too many co-ed meetups. So this will be awesome. We met up in Lisbon last year, 2024. I feel like it was April 2024. We met up in Lisbon with the Blacksit Global community, and it was awesome. So we're excited to do that again. So that's our next meetup. The next official Exodus Summit meetup will be in Lisbon, Portugal on October 24th. This is different from the meetup that we just had in Vietnam, which was 2 weeks long or more. Some women are still there, right? Some women are still there. So this is not that unless you make it that. Right? If y'all get together and decide that, Stephanie and Rashida are only going to be in town for a day. Rashida and I are both traveling in October after Exodus Summit, but we're going to be both in Lisbon on that day. Okay. Krishan lives in Lisbon. We're going to be in Lisbon for that day. All three of us are together in one city for one day. Okay. So that's why that's happening this way. But if you want to make it more of the other kind of meetup, the Vietnam meetup, which I'll talk to you about in just a second, then you can make it that if you want, right? Y'all get together and decide what date you're going to be there, maybe what hotel you're going to stay in or hotels. Pick a couple of excursions or things you want to do while you're there. You're welcome to turn this into something different. Okay. But okay, Khaleesi says they may not be in the country. Okay. Yeah, everybody's going to be out and about doing things. so y'all will be in Mexico. So there may be Our Black Utopia. You didn't say this, but there may be an Our Black Utopia something happens somewhere in Mexico in the fall. Right. But that's the next thing. That's the next thing on the calendar, which is why I said through the third quarter of 2025. Because that's late October 24th, and then November and December, I don't have any plans to be anywhere hosting any kind of meetup. But I did want to host a meetup in Bogota in July. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Good morning, Mom. My mom says, sorry I'm late. I was busy promoting Nicole Hill and Alvin vending at Georgetown Community Center today. That's my cousin. Okay. What were they vending? Oh, Nicole makes things. I think body products. Okay, good. Promoting them. Okay, good work, Mom. So, what was I saying? Oh, Bogota. So I wanted to host a meetup in Bogota. What do y'all think? In July, my birthday is July 5, so 4th of July meetup. Part of me wants to host a meetup in Bogota on my birthday. But part of me doesn't want to work very hard and plan anything. Number one, okay? And number two, I don't know. Anybody want to come? Before we had that Blackset Global and Exodus Summit meetup on the books, it sounded like a good idea. Now that meetup is on the books, I don't know that we need a Bogota meetup. I was thinking about also making that co-ed. So it wouldn't be a true Exodus Summit meetup. It would be like a Vicarians meetup, a My Channel meetup. But now that we're doing the one in Lisbon, I don't know that we need to do that. So you have to tell me. I thought originally Bogota is not a vacation destination. And I thought originally I would do it in Bogota, and it would be 4th of July weekend, and then y'all, if you wanted to, Bogota is a pass-through location for people who are sometimes pass-through place for people who wanted to go to Cartagena or Medellin. But there's not a whole lot of fun time activities to do in Bogota. Bogota is like, we're going to the restaurant, right? I'm going to the mall, as far as I know. But I thought that people might want to pass through Bogota, spend a couple of days in Medellin or Cartagena on 4th of July weekend. So I don't know. I want some friends in Bogota. So mostly this was just like a recruiting trip, right? It would be like a meetup for people to meet Bogota, for you to be introduced to Bogota if you haven't been before. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen is what I'm saying. Number one, I'm not going to get back to Colombia until late April now. Every week, it seems like I push my return to Bogota back 2 weeks. So right now, I don't know. Right now, if I get back late April, early May, I may have an apartment by then. I may not. It would be nice to already be settled in before I host a meetup there. And so I don't know. So Danny says Bogota is cold and boring. And Keisha Dupree says she wanted to go to Bogota. So, and Felicia, hey, Felicia, how are you? Felicia says she's down for Bogota. Okay. So put that on your calendars, Intuitive Lens. Okay, Lori, I'd love to come to Bogota. Okay. All right, so let's put that on the books. I believe July 5 is Saturday. Yeah, July 5 is Saturday. So let's plan a meetup for July 4 or 5. Let's plan a meetup for July 5. I'll find a restaurant and I'll make a place. I'll make an event in the Exodus Summit community, but I also have to make it somewhere else if it's going to be co-ed. I'll make something. I thought that women with husbands, right? Bogota is Colombia, not necessarily Bogota. Bogota is not a great choice for some people, right? Because it's high altitude, very, very high altitude. And it's not hot. And some people like hot weather destinations. It's like 65, 75 degrees is the high for the day. The high that's on a sunny day. So I'll find a place to make the meetup. So make sure that you're getting my newsletter, I guess, is the answer. Vicarious.com/newsletter. And when I send some email, open it up. When I send email that mentions Bogota meetup, open that email. And we'll figure out a way to get a count of who would be there. In my mind, people who want to scout out Medellin or Cartagena or is it Santa Marta, that beach in the north? There's like let me look at Colombia. People who want to scout out or Bogota, right, would come, or Barranquilla would come and would stop by Bogota and then go visit another place. Or visit Bogota after scouting out another place. Yeah, and just would stop by. I don't think Bogota is a 4 or 5 day vacation place, unless you want to stay in the Four Seasons and, eat in restaurants, right? But if you want to do and explore and see, Bogota is kind of isolated by the mountains. And I don't know, unless I'm missing something about Bogota. It's not a vacation spot, but if you're looking to scout out a cooler weather location in Colombia, then this is your place, right? Okay. Anthony Sherman says it makes him nervous for some reason. Maybe if all of Colombia makes you nervous, it's probably just because, maybe we were alive in the 80s and 90s when Colombia was not a safe place. I can understand that, but do some Googles. I have not shared much about Bogota. I only spent a month there, and I have not shared much video or photos. So I can't help you feel less nervous about it, but somebody on the internet can. Somebody on the internet has done a good job of sharing about Bogota. Darlene's going next Friday. What I can tell you about it is it's a green city, parks, trees, but it's huge. It's a big city, 8 or 9 million people, high altitude. Even Rashida, who lives in Mexico City, felt the altitude sickness. So if Bogota is your entry into Colombia, it's for the first 2 days, you're just going to be doing nothing. I think that was my experience. For first 2 days, we would go outside and walk and then come back and that was it. Okay, that's it. But they have a gold museum. So all the things that we did were things that I would do if I was visiting Bogota. Go to the gold museum, buy yourself some gold. Rashida bought me a gold pin that I've been wearing sometimes that I should be wearing today, but I don't have it. I think it's over there. There's very little activity, fun time things to do. There's no beach. But if you're looking for a place with neighborhoods that you might want to live in, that is not an exciting city, but a clean city with pretty neighborhoods. Some of the neighborhoods are not pretty, but some of the neighborhoods are pretty. It's safe, as safe as any city in Latin America, right? By that, I mean, on paper, it may be less safe than other cities in Latin America. It may be pretty low on the list of safe cities in Latin America. But the neighborhoods that you're going to be in are safe neighborhoods, right? We're talking pickpocketing and stuff. That was my experience. Okay. All right. Lots of rain and high buildings. It's just a city. All right. But it is a pass through. It is a place where sometimes people pass through when they're flying to Cartagena or something else. So it can work as just a stop by point. And there's the Four Seasons. There's two Four Seasons hotels. One is tiny. There's two Four Seasons. There's a JW Marriott. So if you want to just sit and go to a place and eat at a couple of different restaurants for a little bit and just see another city while you're visiting Bogota, while you're visiting Colombia, or even Panama. I think when I flew, I passed through Panama because I flew Copa. So like if you're scouting Panama or Colombia, even if you're not scouting Bogota, you might want to stop by Bogota. And most Avianca flights, hi Delia, good morning. Most Avianca flights lay over in Bogota. Avianca is the airline that is Colombia's airline. It's kind of funny. They're kind of funny about business class seats. So when you look for a business class flight, Avianca doesn't always come up because a lot of their flights don't have business class, which is strange. Even though I flew business class from Costa Rica to El Salvador, I think, on Avianca. They're kind of funny about that. But Copa business class, I have no complaints. They have a nice lounge. Anyway, Bogota. If you're going to be there July 5, we'll go out to eat. I'll be 51, my 51st birthday. So that we'll do that. I'm trying to set expectations that this is not an exciting city. It's like, I don't know what to compare it to. It's just a city where people live. It's not a city that people go to for vacations. It's just a city for people to live in. Okay. So if you're interested in a place to live where the high temperature is like 70 degrees, not 90 degrees, and where you can get a nice 4-bedroom apartment with an private elevator for $2,500 a month, with a patio, terrace, and a private elevator, then you might be interested in Bogota. Yeah, so I'm moving to happy birthday, Danny. Danny and I are birthday twins. Yeah, so it's Bogota. It's not Costa Rica. I have not considered Panama. Panama seems to be more, well, I'll say the women I met in Panama who liked it the most were retirement age. Yeah. Earthly color brown. Blessings by way of North Pole, Alaska. Heading to Japan because we're freezing here. Hello. It's probably pretty cold in Japan, but I guess not as cold as it is in Alaska. Hello. Rosalind says, I think the negative propaganda about Colombia doesn't apply to regular law-abiding citizens. So I'm not saying that things, so in the United States, we're used to any crime in a city reaching regular everyday people. In other parts of the world, things can be a lot more segmented, right? Anywhere you are, you're at risk for pickpocketing and phone theft and stuff like that. Valerina is going to Cali and Medellin in August. Okay, good. Good, good, good. And Kishi says, I would make Bogota stop as I scout other parts of Colombia. Okay, good. All right, then. Well, let's plan that. Once I get back late April, I'll try to find a restaurant. That's all it's going to be. Okay. That's all it's going to be. If you're doing more, if you're doing excursions and stuff, you're going to have to plan that. Okay. No, Medellin is not an option for me because I like Bogota. I got to Bogota and I didn't feel the need to find another option. Medellin has a little bit warmer weather than Bogota. In my mind, I haven't been there. In my mind, in Bogota, I get to be with Colombians. In Medellin, I get to be with people from all over the world who want to be in Colombia. That is my mind's. I haven't been to Medellin. You have to understand that, okay? Also, I don't want to have to pronounce Medellin all the time. Where do you live? Medellin, Medellin. Oh, Medellin, Medellin. I don't want to have to do that. But mostly, I feel like in Bogota, I will get to be with Colombians. We saw tourists, but most tourists that I saw, now it was January, so it wasn't like, well, I guess January is probably a high season there. But it was Colombian tourists, not a whole bunch of Americans and Brits running amok. So yeah, no, I don't have any interest in scouting out another location in Colombia. Okay. Hey, Crystal. Leaving for San Jose, Costa Rica on Monday for dental tourism. Good. Staying 2 weeks. Good, good. That's wonderful. I had had a good experience with the dental work that I had done in Costa Rica. All right, that's good news. All right. All right. Nuck, if you gunt. I was just thinking about, I have a question. I can read this. Have you done woofing or work away? Or what are some cheap ways to travel out of the US? Yeah, so I've done work away on my year of travel, my sabbatical, the first year that I traveled full time in 2015. I did work exchanges through Workaway in Colombia. No, I didn't. Cambodia. I did work exchanges in Cambodia and Australia, 2 in Australia and 1 in Cambodia. I really, really think it's a fantastic way to travel, just to go to another part of the world for a low cost of living. Work exchange means you do some sort of work for people for 3, 4, 5 hours a day. It's usually 5 hours a day. And they give you free room and board. You get the place to stay and the meals. I think work exchanges work if you're interested in like connecting with other people in a place and meeting other people and spending time with people. Not if you want a lot of downtime and, I do what I want time. So I did my work exchanges near the middle of my year. When I left in 2015 to travel for a year to Southeast Asia, I thought I was just going to be gone for a year, and then I was going to come back to working a regular job. So I put my work exchanges in the middle, Cambodia and Australia. So I had a good amount of time to not do work, even though the work was, different. It was easier. It was still work in exchange for free room and board. In Australia, I was an au pair kind of. I was a part-time au pair, a part-time nanny for 2 kids at a home in Australia for a family. My responsibility was to get up and get the kids up and dressed for school, give them breakfast, and pack their lunches, and then drive the carpool to and from school. They went to school probably 30 minutes away from the house because they went to like a little country school, a different kind of school. And so that's what I did. So people call all work exchange is not woofing, but woofing is work exchange. You know, woofing is one of the platforms where you can get a work exchange. I happen to use Workaway. I made a video on here years ago about it. And then I talked to someone not too long ago who did a work exchange, but I will never remember who that was in time for me to give you the link. But if you type work exchange on my channel, you may see the other video too. So that's what I did. I did those work exchanges. The one where I took care of the kids was the best, even though it was taking care of kids, which is, you know, that was the best one. The family was nice. They were not Australian. They were Dutch and British, or it's just hard to say. He was British, but he was from New Guinea. I don't know. But they were not Australians. Australians are, you know, they're not good people. Let me tell you that. But the parents were Dutch and not Australian. And so that was a great work exchange, because in exchange for those 4 hours a day, I got a home in Australia. I got all of my meals, and I got a car to borrow, to use. Australia is very expensive. Now, on the flip side, the worst work exchange that I did was in Cambodia for a Frenchman. He was not a Cambodian farmer. He was a Frenchman who was there exploiting some of Cambodia's generosity. And that was the worst. And it was in part because I didn't like him. I just didn't like him as a person. And here I am spending 3, 4, 5 hours a day doing work for him. But the other part was just that Cambodia is so inexpensive that I was working for nothing, basically, because free room and board in Cambodia was like $10 a day. So I'm doing hours of work for the equivalent of $10 a day. So work exchanges are wonderful if you like the work that you're doing, if you like the people that you're volunteering with. Some of that you won't know until you read reviews. I used Woof, definitely worth it. So the summer, let's see. So I was woofing, I think, June and July in Australia. So I think it was 2 months, maybe 6 weeks, because they were on break from school part of that time. When I got there, they were just going back to school I don't remember. 6 weeks there, plus a week or two in the other Australia work exchange, plus, I don't know, less than a week in Cambodia, because I left, I quit. So 6, 7, 8. So more than 2 months of work exchanges, which meant that my budget got to have a little relief. I got to have a little break to my budget. So work exchanges, I used Woof. I had a good experience, an okay experience, and a not good experience. But even the not good experience was fine, because when I decided I didn't like it, I just said, hey, I said I was going to leave on this date. I'm actually going to leave tomorrow. And that was the end of that. I stayed in Cambodia. Because I made a little friend named Guy. I'd made a friend who was there, like, doing some missionary work, and we would eat lunch every day. I had a lunch buddy. So I stayed. I'm like, I got friends here. I know where I like to do, what restaurants have good Wi-Fi. There was a restaurant that had a pool. It was a hotel, I guess, but I would go there as a restaurant guest and still could use the pool. So it was good. So I liked it. Earthly Color Brown's Study Abroad for 18-year-old daughter. Yeah. Empress Wanderlust. Good idea for my 18-year-old, though. Yeah. And then, of course, your question was about traveling on a budget. Of course, house sitting. House sitting is staying in people's homes and taking care of their homes and usually their pets while they're away. House sitting gives you a free place to stay. Doesn't give you your meals, doesn't give you your travel expenses, your transportation. But it was wonderful. It's a wonderful, I still house sit. I'm actually looking for a house sit right now in Mexico for after I get residency. I'd like to stay for a week in between. But house sitting is a way to get free accommodation if you're a friend to animals, right? If you like cats or dogs or chickens or rabbits or birds or some kind of fish, some kind of animal. If you like some kind of animal and would be willing to take care of someone's animal while they're away, house sitting is a wonderful way to travel on a serious budget. I house sat in Mexico for 6 months. When I left, I had $3,000. And when I finished the house sit, I still had some money left. 6 months. Let me give you, I don't have a link to give you for the work exchanges, but if you look up Workaway, workaway.info or Woof, you'll see that information in there. I do have a new house sitter toolkit, which links to some house sitting. It gives you my link to Trusted House Sitters, which is my affiliate link. It gives you my letter that I use to get booked in Trusted House Sitters. So if you go to housesit.vicarious.com/toolkit, that link is there. Okay. If you're watching the replay, hello friends in the future. I hope it's awesome there. I think I said that to you already, but hi again. I'll drop this in the description of that video. I'm going to do that now because I don't know if I'll be awake. When we finish this video, it might be night time. Usually after a video, I have time to go back through, rewatch it, and drop my links in then. But I don't know if that's going to happen this time. I may need to be in Sleepy Town when this video is over. Okay, I put that in there. Have I had an experience with World Packers? No, but I have heard of World Packers, and I think it's the same thing. World Packers is work exchange. Let me Google it. World Packers. Volunteer opportunities. Yes, it's the same concept. Woof, World Packers, Workaway, helpx.net. They all, as far as I know, they work very similarly. Back in 2015, when I was looking around, Woof had a lot of agricultural work, pick fruit, pick olives, pick grapes, pick I don't know, make soap, make candles. And Workaway had a lot of childcare and teach English, nanny the kids kind of stuff. I don't know if those divisions still exist. There may be a lot of overlap. I would look on all of those sites as much as you can for free, and then join the one that looks like it's going to be the most helpful, or the two. You may join all four. I think it was $30 for a year when I joined Workaway. How much does Workaway cost? $59 for an individual account, $69 for a couple account. Yeah. So you may join more than one. I think I looked through Woof, HelpX, and Workaway, and I decided to join Workaway just because. And it worked out. It worked out. It was really a great experience. The family in Australia, I'm still Facebook friends with the mom. And every now and then she'll update us on the kids. And I'm like, gosh, where are the little kids? What happened to the little kids? They were 7 and 4 when I got there. And the 4-year-old turned 5. He had a birthday while I was there. And that was 10 years ago now. I'm like, what happened? But yeah, house sitting and work exchanges. House sitting technically is not a work exchange because you're getting a free place to stay, but you're not getting meals. But you could put them in the same category. I'd put them in the same category. House sitting and work exchanges are why I've been able to travel so much when I made such little money, right? When I was surviving on my $100 and some VA check and my virtual assistant business, which was failing, and my mom's birthday and birthday money and holiday money, right? I could do that because of work exchanges and house sitting. I didn't know about house sitting when I was traveling in Australia on work exchanges. If I'd known about house sitting back then, like, who knows, I might have stayed in Australia a lot longer because house sitting is super popular in Australia. When you go to the Trusted House Sitter site, you'll see you can get a lovely house sit. Everybody in Australia got a pool because it's so hot there. When it gets hot especially in like Melbourne, Sydney, I was in the Gold Coast. When it gets hot, it gets hot. They all have swimming pools, right? House sitting and work exchanges there are a good way to go. Whereas in Cambodia, everything is so inexpensive, or was. I was there in 2015, early 2015. And everything was so inexpensive that I didn't feel like my work exchange was worth the work. Especially if I had liked him. If I had liked the person I was doing the work for, it would have been different. But I didn't like him. And I'm working 4 or 5 hours a day to make the equivalent of $10 a day. I didn't think that through. Because I think I left there and stayed in a hostel. I think the bed in the hostel was $8 a day. And then when I went to a hotel, I think the hotel room was $15 or $16 a day, right? In a hotel with a pool right? Forget it. I wasn't getting my money's worth. And he wasn't feeding me. Part of the deal was food and board, room and board. And he wasn't doing the board part. He wasn't feeding me. So I was paying for my own meals anyway, which, in Cambodia, $2, you can get that, you can get some rice, a meal for $2. What I'm saying is make sure that you're taking a work exchange, that for doing work that you're going to enjoy doing. Make sure that you're doing the work exchange when you're rested, right? Not at the beginning of your sabbatical, if you can help it. And read the reviews. Make sure you're going to like the person that you're dealing with. Okay. Hey, Katrina. Katrina's still in Southeast Asia. We were together for the Vietnam meetup. I just met someone living in Cambodia, has a very nice 1-bed, 2-bath apartment, pays $250 a month, still cheap. Yeah. $250 a month, right? Yeah. So those are the kinds of things. That's a thing that I didn't think about when I was signing up for the work exchange in Cambodia. This work that I'm doing, am I going to feel adequately compensated? I'm very sensitive to that, right? I am not a person who enjoys doing work for nothing. I'm not a person who enjoys working for free. And I didn't realize how that was going to feel. So, that's a thing. Good morning. Halisi says, we've house sat all over the world using Stephanie's letter. Yeah, my letter in the new house sitter toolkit is really good. Sometimes I hear people be like, I didn't get booked. It's 2 problems. Either you're not applying for enough house sits, right? You're applying for 1 or 2 house sits and then being like, it didn't work, right? Even I get turned down for house sits. Either you're not applying for enough house sits or your letter sucks. Fix your letter. And the way that I know to fix the letter is just use the letter that I've given you, right? I don't know what else to tell you. I hear that every now and then. And I'm like, listen, I try to tell you. I gave you a free letter to use. I know you're not using it. I know you're not using it. Because people who use my letter, they get booked. They get house sits. Yeah. I'm looking for a house sit right now. So, I'm going to Mexico to get my residency. I leave on tomorrow. And my thing is supposed to automatically put me on Do Not Disturb when I'm on StreamYard. I leave tomorrow to do that. I'll be done by the 18th of March, and I have a week in Mexico where I'm looking for a house sit right now. So I have my alert set. I set an alert for all of Mexico for that 1 week because I'm willing to fly to a different part of Mexico. I'm hoping to find something in a place I haven't been, like Puerto Escondido. I've never been down there, but we'll see. March is when house sitter season just starts to kick back up for North Americans, right? So there's a chance, but after Easter, during and after Easter, things will be better. So I'm in a week, having the week of the last week of, or like the next to the last week of March as the date that I need to get a house sit means that it may or may not work, right? I may or may not find what I want. The good news is I'll be in the Tijuana area, somewhere between Ensenada and Tijuana and Valle de Guadalupe. So there are places I can stay for a lot less than if I was here in Las Vegas for that week, or in, Southern California or whatever for that week. Love what you collect. I'm currently looking to book my house sits. Yeah, so get your toolkit from me. It's free. housesit.vicarious.com/toolkit. The link is in the description already. I just put it in the description. But also, if you still need support in getting your first house sit booked, join House Sitter School. When you get the new House Sitter Toolkit, you'll see the link to join House Sitter School. House Sitter School is me walking you through my digital series of videos, me walking you through getting booked. If you're having a hard time setting up your profile on your own, go ahead and get my join House Sitter School. Okay. House Sitter School is for people who want a little extra support. You don't need House Sitter School to get to join Trusted House Sitters. You don't need House Sitter School to join Trusted House Sitters, right? My letter is in the toolkit. Toolkit is free. House Sitter School is for money. If you want extra support in getting booked for your first house sits, House Sitter School is there to help you with that. What am I doing with my stuff? Am I taking all my suitcases to Mexico? Yeah. So my luggage has increased while I've been on this voyage. I count my trips from visits to Delaware, from Delaware to Delaware, right? So the last time I was in Delaware, when is the last time I was in Delaware? Wait, I usually just look at my photos and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's the last time I was in Delaware. So let's look for last time I was in Delaware. Oh yeah, I voted. Okay, so it was November. Last time I was in Delaware was November. The last picture I took of myself in Delaware was November 7th. So, and November 8th, I went for a walk. No, outside of the house, I took a picture on November 8th. So I haven't been in Delaware since November 8th, and I won't be back until April. I bought my ticket. Oh, Mom, I booked my flight. I won't be back until April. So December, January, February, March, April. 5 months. So this 5-month stretch, I've been to, where have I been? Let's see. I went to Puerto Rico, Bogota, Colombia. No, and Las Vegas. First, I started in Las Vegas, right? I went to the first conference. Puerto Rico, Bogota, back to Las Vegas, Hong Kong, Vietnam, back to Las Vegas for this final conference. And then I'm going to Mexico. And then I go back. Then I spend a little bit more time in Mexico. And then I go back to Delaware. Right? So I've had to pack for for conferences. So I've had conference wear. I've had beach wear. I've had Bogota, Colombia wear, which is more clothed, right? A more clothed look than the clothes I was wearing in Costa Rica. I think I was also in Costa Rica. I think I went to Costa Rica in that time, because Katrina and I were in Costa Rica. When was that last time we were in Costa Rica? And so, no, that was before Delaware. So I've just added on new stuff. My luggage is growing. I'm thinking right now about, do I need to book an extra piece of luggage for this next flight? I'm flying Delta, so the weight is fine. Delta gives you a lot of weight on your suitcases. But one of my suitcases, I would prefer to check this bag instead. When I flew here, I put my a small duffel bag inside of my other suitcase. And I would prefer to just check that bag and make my 3 bags lighter than to stuff that duffel bag and all of its contents in another suitcase and struggle with getting all of that zipped. So I'm taking it all with me because I don't have any plans to come back to Las Vegas. And that. So it's heavy. It's too much. This is probably, I was thinking about this, but this is probably my last stretch as a nomad, right? This is probably my last stretch. These are my last few weeks carrying all of my stuff with me. From here on, when I travel and take vacations, I'll be able to pack like a vacationer. I think I'll be able to pack like a vacationer instead of a person who has her conference wear and her beach wear and her Colombia cold weather, high altitude wear and her, extra, all, like all of my stuff with me. Because when I go back to Bogota, I'm getting an apartment. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I won't be, I may not ever have to travel with my own. I have a coffee mug. I have my big YouTube tumbler, right? May never travel with a tumbler and a coffee mug ever again, right? Because I'll be just traveling for stuff instead of on the road. All of that to say, I'm bringing everything with me to Mexico because after Mexico, then I finally get back to Delaware. Drop off some things, pick up some new things. After April in Delaware, I'm going to a retreat. While I'm in Delaware, I'm going to a retreat in New York. It's really another conference in New York. I'm in a coaching program with Rachel Rogers called some sort of mastermind. I don't know what it's called. It's a mastermind. I signed up a couple months ago. I still haven't started. Okay, I haven't started my coursework because I've been go. So I'm doing that in early April, back to Delaware. And then late April, I'll be landing in Bogota to live my life. Learning back to Bogota to live my life. Yeah, so different airlines are different. In Hong Kong, this flight to Hong Kong and then Da Nang, Vietnam, they weighed everything, including my carry-on, and I had problems. I have a second channel called Stephanie Perry Media, and I just went live 2 days ago, I think, maybe yesterday, 2 days ago. And I talked about the luggage situation. But this time I'm flying Delta, and each bag, I get 70 pounds on each bag. So that's what I'm trying to decide. The 2 bags are heavy, but they're not 70 pounds. So if I just have to stuff everything and whatever. Whereas I could break it up into 3 bags and pay for an extra bag, but I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't know what a 3rd bag is going to cost. So I'm going to Google that and decide that before the end of the day today. End of an era. Yeah. Stephanie will finally have a home. Yeah, it's September 2015. September 21st, 2015, I got on that plane from New York to Tokyo, was my first stretch. And since then, I've traveled with most of my stuff. I still have stuff in my parents' house. I have a lot of stuff in their house. But like most of everything I need, I've traveled with. Instead of being able to travel like I'm going on vacation, I've traveled like, here's all of my stuff. And that what that looks like has changed because the conference Stephanie, has just appeared over the last 2 years. I've just started going to conferences over the last couple of years. So I haven't had to have like conference wear, clothes that look like a certain thing. For a long time, I got to be beach wear and house sitter, a packer for beaches and house sits, right? I'm packing pajamas, lounge wear, walk on the beach wear, and swimsuits. But over time, I wish I hadn't touched my hair because now I feel like I'm not going to get it back to a shape. Over time, my needs have expanded. And my luggage has expanded thusly. Yeah, but end of an era. No more nomadic Stephanie. I'll still be able to pick up and go when I want, but I won't have to take everything with me, right? Because the last time I said, I'm not going to take everything, I'm coming back, was Costa Rica. My stuff is still there. I still have stuff in Costa Rica. I have to get back to pick some things up. I still have things in Costa Rica with Shayla because that's not worked out for me, right? Saying, oh, I'm going to come back and pick up, I'm going to leave some stuff here. I'll be back. I have not been back. So, yeah. Speaking of the current conference, what's your opinion so far? Has it changed since day one? It's over. I came to the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit. No, my opinion didn't change. It was the same. It was the same experience. So what I said in my video on my other channel the other day was that this was just a reminder of why Black women need to stop working and get out of these jobs. And that didn't change. That's what the conference is for: women who work, women in roles in specific organizations. It's called the Women of Power Summit. And it's just a reminder what Black women have to deal with at work and how we have, I don't want to say accepted it, but how we have accepted what those workspaces are like. It's just a reminder, I'm here to spy, right? I came to this conference to act as a spy. If my goal is to get more Black women out of the workforce, right? Out of traditional jobs anyway. If I want to get Black women out of traditional jobs, I thought it would be nice to come here and see what a conference for Black women in traditional jobs is about and what they're talking about. And I took some quotes so that I could make some future YouTube videos. So expect to see a video on some of the things that were discussed this week, not as though the person was wrong. I'm not here to blast or bash anybody. In fact, most of the quotes that I wrote down, I didn't write down the name of the speaker because that didn't matter. It wasn't who said it. It was about how ubiquitous these thoughts are in Black woman world, right? So one of the women said, selfless acts fill my cup. Selfless acts fill my cup. And I'm like, no. I know Black women believe that. And there is something to be said for doing things for others. That is a piece, that is a slice of life that is helpful. But by definition, an act for other people takes from you. That is a taking proposition. You're draining. That is a cup drainer. It's not a filler. It's not a cup filler. It's not a cup. I know that. By definition, acts for other people drain your cup. They empty your cup. She was like, I know they say get a manicure, but get a pedicure. I'm also team, you can't manicure and pedicure your way to wellness, whatever that means to you, to rest, to care. But there's got to be something that you do for you to add that does actually fill your cup. Another woman said, when she was talking about toxic managers and being in a toxic environment, she said, I have to remember that it's happening to build my mental muscle. And that made me so sad. Because no, those people are not being mean to you to build your mental muscle. They're being mean to you to crush you. And then Abby said, I don't want to give them the satisfaction of my anger. Abby is the CNN host of a show, which I didn't even know. Everybody in the room knew her show. I didn't even know. I can't remember the last time I saw CNN on a TV screen. But she said, and a woman asked her, like, how do you not snap on them people on your show? And she said, I don't want to give them the satisfaction of my anger. When what we know is that that thought, I can't give them the satisfaction of seeing me angry or seeing my emotions. That is literally killing us. It's literally killing Black women, right? I said her name just because I wanted to prove I just wanted to let you know that, I don't know. I shouldn't have said her name is what I'm saying. I shouldn't have said her name. But I wrote her name down because I was like, I need to see who this lady is. Everybody knows who she is. Right? I don't know who she is. Yeah. So how do I feel about the conference? It's well done. Oh, well done conference. I guess I didn't say that in the video the other day. Really well done conference. Well done. Well done. Expensive conference. This is an expensive conference. It cost them a pretty penny to put this on. The most beautiful floral arrangements. I really wanted to take one off the table. I stood around the table for a while. How do I take these flower arrangements back? I ended up going to the grocery store and just buying my own flowers because I wanted to steal that flower arrangement so bad. Really well done conference. My opinion of things is not because the conference wasn't good. Conference was great. Conference did what it was supposed to do. The problem is whiteness. The problem is Black excellence, right? Those are beyond the conference's scope, right? My beef with Black excellence is always going to be my beef with Black excellence. That is what the conference is basically. And I knew that when I came here. That's why I came here, because these are the exact women that I'm like, what videos can I make? What videos can I make to get her out of this job? Right? To at least get her thinking about it. 2 women the first day stopped me and was like, I know your YouTube channel. Generally, when I go out into the world today, in something where Black women will be, there is somebody who will stop me and say, I know your YouTube channel. So this is no different, right? So 2 women stopped me. One woman was like, another one was like, what are you doing here? This is not your kind of thing. And I was like, I'm a spy. I'm a spy. And one of the women was working actively on how do I take a sabbatical, right? How do I do that? So that's good news. But this was a reminder that this work, right, is still not mainstream for Black women. This concept, this attitude, this community is still not mainstream for Black women. The mainstream thought or way is still prove yourself, right? Work twice as hard for half as much. Prove yourself. And don't be so good that they can't. The first quote, the man who is I don't know, listen, Black Enterprise, he might be the CEO of Black Enterprise. He said something that got the audience really going, and I didn't pull my phone out and take a note, but it was something like, he started off talking about the end of DEI, and he was like, but we can be so good that they can't deny us, or something like that. That is still the main thought, the main approach for Black women. I hate it. I hate it. And so I took my notes. I did my spying. I was hoping at the table to get to talk to some women one-on-one, like, plant one seed here, one seed there, talk to some women. I didn't get to do that. It wasn't that kind of conference. A lot of the women worked for the organizations that were sponsoring the conference, and so they just talked to their people, right? So at the first breakfast, I sat at the Morgan Stanley one of the Morgan Stanley tables. They just all had. When I sat there, they were all going around saying who they were and what they did and where they lived, and they all worked for Morgan Stanley. And they didn't ask me anything. They didn't talk to me at all. One woman turned and talked to me, but the group didn't talk to me because they were busy talking about Morgan Stanley. And when it was obvious that I didn't know what they were talking about, they weren't interested. They were just there to talk work. And that was a reminder how much how much more this message needs to spread. By this message, I mean this movement's message. I don't mean just my channel message, right? I'm very aware that I'm a person inside of a greater movement. Oh, and Adelia, the woman, her name was Kimberly, and she said, I saw Adelia's. I was a subscriber to Adelia's channel for years, and that's how I found you. Yeah, Kimberly. She said she's working on a sabbatical. She's working on it. Uh, so, okay. Well, how you really feel about them? So, this is my last conference. Well, I told you the other thing. The other thing is kind of a retreat. It's more of a retreat. The thing I'm going to in April in New York is more of a retreat. This is the last, as far as I know, this is the only conference for this year. I don't have any other conferences planned for this year. Unless I'm speaking at the conference. So this is two this year. Y'all, 2 this year. And unless I get booked to speak at a conference, I don't have any plans to go to any others, but maybe I'll share. If I do, I'll tell you. The second woman who stopped me was like, they need you here. Why? Are you speaking? Are you speaking? She was about to go on stage to speak for her session. And she was like, they need you here. Are you speaking? I was like, no. She said, it's not hard. Let me tell you how I got booked. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So maybe I'll be speaking at another time. Yeah, it was just a reminder, and it made me sad. So when I go to a conference, I'm not going to every session anyway. I was never going to go to every session. But let me tell you, 3 sessions plus the little intro breakfast. And I was like, I can't stay in this room. I can't. I got to go. I got to leave. That was lunchtime. No, it wasn't even lunchtime. I didn't even make it to lunchtime. There was one more session before lunchtime and I left, right? I was like, I can't sit in this space. This is making me sad. Every session boiled down to, now I only attended 3 the first day, but they all boiled down to, here's how we make them not ignore us. Here's how we deal with these toxic situations. Not about like, this shit is wrong. And these people are terrible people. And they're killing us. But like, here's what we can do to make our voices heard. Here's how we support each other. A lot of talk about being Black women and supporting each other at work and being mentors and sponsors to other Black women at work. A lot of that talk, right? But no mention of there's another way. Of course, it was a conference for women who work in these corporations. So I wouldn't expect it to be a there's another way conversation. But it was sad. Just because you know what's coming, just because I knew what the conference was, doesn't mean it didn't make me sad, right? Doesn't mean it didn't make me sick, so sick. That's life, right? That's how things go. There's more work to be done, right? There's more work to be done. So like things that I do are designed to help spread that. In my mind, I was like, I sat at table 122. There were 1,800 women at the conference, at least. I sat at table 122, and there were quite a few more tables. So let's say there were 150 tables. I was like, it would be amazing if I had 150 women from Exodus Summit at this conference, and each one was at every table. And when they went around and were like, what do you do? What do you do? One woman was like, I don't do any of this anymore. Here's how I walked away. That is kind of what YouTube does. YouTube helps reach those women one at a time, right? I just told you the first woman, Kimberly, was like, I subscribe to Picky Girl Travels. Picky Girl. People always call Adelia Picky instead of, I don't know. It's really funny to me. They never call her Picky Girl Travels the World. They'd be like, Picky, Picky. Picky. She told me she subscribed to Adelia's channel, and that's how she came to know my YouTube channel, Rashida's YouTube channel, right? Yeah, there's more of that. So I host a YouTube challenge. We just had the YouTube challenge while I was in Vietnam. And that's why I talk YouTube. It's why I teach YouTube. YouTube is my best way to get under those women's skin, or get in their ear, not under their skin. That's not the right one, but get in their ear. The best way I know to get in women's ear is to mobilize more Black women to share their stories. I don't mean mobilize as in do a whole lot of work. YouTube can be a whole lot of work, but YouTube can also be not that much. Every now and then you turn on your camera and you share something, right? More of that, more Black women on our side of the fence, on our side of the grass, more Black women on our side of the grass saying, you know, it actually is greener over here. It really is greener, right? It's not, this is not a, oh, but when I get over there, I'm going to wish I was back. No, we hardly ever see that. I know 2 women in the Exodus Summit community who took a sabbatical, left the country, and then went back to the thing that they were doing. I know 2. I know 2. There's 22,000 women in the Exodus Summit community, right? I have 190 something thousand subscribers on this channel. I know 2. So it would be nice. It not would be. It is. It's already in existence. It is nice to know that I don't have to do all of the recruiting and the spying to get to those women in that room. Those women in that room are being reached by the other women who are growing their own YouTube channels or who are taking their sabbaticals and sharing their stories somewhere, whether it's on YouTube or just with their best friend or their sister, right? A lot of women are like, my sister told me to watch you, right? That's what I mean by mobilize. I don't like that word. I don't like the word mobilize. I don't know if I've ever used that word before when talking about community. But maybe it's because I'm here with the serious work people. I'm using serious words now that I'm here with serious people. Yeah, right. I do the YouTube. I host the YouTube challenge for Black women who have something to say, right? For Black women who have something to share. And I don't think yet I've had a Black woman in my challenge who is like, here's how you work harder and strive more. I don't attract that kind of woman into my challenge. Kicking it with Kim. Hey, Kim. Redefining hustle. Vietnam changed me. I hate it here. That's the plan, right? That's the plan. Sneak attack. The plan worked, right? Get Black women out of the usual routine. Let them see what a different life could be like. And then help them get to that new life. That's the plan. Right? That is a benefit of the meetup. It's not the purpose. It's not the first purpose of the meetup. It's the latent function. Is that the word that we use in the serious communication world? It's a latent function of meetups. Letting you see what your life could be in a new place. Because let's talk about the Vietnam meetup, y'all. Let me get some water. My glass is so dirty because I have one of the things they gave us in the goodie bag was shea butter, and I got shea butter all over my body. So I can see in the thing my glass looks dirty. It's just because I got shea butter hands. This is by Butter. The company is called Butter. One of the sponsors gave us this beautiful container. This is really pretty packaging. I love this packaging. And it's just shea butter. This is just shea butter. Ingredients, shea butter. I'm so happy to have it. I'm so happy to have it. I'm slathered in it. And then that's why my glass looks so cloudy. Okay. So let's talk about the Vietnam meetup. February 20th to 28th, at least, right? I think I got there on the 14th or something, but February 20th to 28th, 75 or 80 Black women from the Exodus Summit community got together in Vietnam, in Hoi An, Vietnam. And man, was it amazing. So I'm going to disagree with Rashida, with something Rashida said. Rashida did a recap of the Vietnam meetup on her YouTube channel. Let me see if I can link to it. And I'm going to disagree with one thing that she said. Someone asked her what's so special about Vietnam in terms of why host a meetup in Vietnam. And she said there's nothing special about Vietnam. But I disagree with that. There is something special about Vietnam. One, or some things. One special reason that Vietnam worked for this 2-week meetup, right? I was there, I got there on the 14th, and a lot of women were there then already, right? Is that Vietnam is a place where you can stay for 2 weeks and not sweat the money, right? I think quite a few women paid less than $30 a night for accommodation. But most of us paid around $50 a night for our accommodation. I paid $60 a night. I was supposed to have a suite. I don't think I got the suite personally. I don't think I was in a suite, but the room I booked was a suite, and it was still $60 a night. So one special thing about Vietnam is that for the price, you can get a really nice accommodation. Even the rooms at the Renaissance Hotel. I'm trying to get this link together. Copy, paste. Even a room at the Renaissance Hotel, I think, was $60 a night, right? I stayed at the Renaissance in Hong Kong. I believe I paid $320 a night. And I'm staying at a Renaissance. I booked a Renaissance for something. Oh, in New York. Oh. When I go to New York, when I go to the thing in New York, you have to, even though it's a retreat, you pay for your own accommodation for something a night. $400 some a night for a hotel that was $60 a night in Vietnam, right? So one special thing about Vietnam is that it's just inexpensive. It's still inexpensive, right? It's still a place where you sit down for dinner with a group of 4. Y'all eat appetizers, drinks, meal, dessert, and when you see the bill, you'll be like, "Oh, this is on me," right? This meal is on me. It's a place where when you go to get a massage, right? You go to sign up for a massage, you're like, "I will take the 3-hour treatment." Women would leave. We'd be sitting around at the hotel pool, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to go get my massage. My massage is Janella. Okay, Janella. My massage is at 3:30. I'll see y'all after dinner." Right? That's one thing that's so special about Vietnam. It was amazing to see Black women be there for days and days and days, weeks and weeks. Some women are still there. Okay, most of the women who were there have gone to Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, Dalat, but some were still in Hoi An, like still there. And I got there on the 14th of February. Most of the women were there on February 14th, and they're still there. That is a special thing about Vietnam. You got to slow down. This is the first meetup where I saw Black women slow down. Even women who in the WhatsApp community, they're posting pictures, they're doing stuff. They're going to excursions. But every time I see her, she's just sitting. We had 4-hour breakfasts. We had breakfast that became lunch at that hotel. We stayed at a place called the Hoi An Eco Lodge and Spa. And they were so nice to us. And so we would sit down. I would get to breakfast about 9:30. Breakfast was over at 10. I would get to breakfast 9:30, 9:45. Some of the women had already been there and eaten by the time I got there. And at 1 o'clock, we're still sitting there. Right? Slowed down. Slowed down. Another special thing about Vietnam is it's a place where you can get things made for you. You can probably do that almost anywhere. And some women got things made for them in South Africa. But I think more women got things custom made for them, clothing and shoes and purses, leather goods in particular. So that was an amazing thing to see. 75, 80 Black women getting stuff made for her. This only exists for me. No, this is not made for anybody else. It's made for me, designed by me to fit me, right? Some women were like, I have this or that, and my hips, pants never really fit my hips, so I'm going to get some pants custom made for me. For me, it's shoes, right? Get some shoes made for me. I don't have any particularly strange foot, but sandals, my foot always hangs over on sandals on the side. Women's sandals are cut funny. My foot is a normal shaped foot, I believe, but women's sandals are just cut so funny. Get some sandals that were cut out from the shape of they trace your foot before they make the sandal, right? So seeing that it was a particularly Vietnam experience. And then the other thing that was special about Vietnam is that there's an idea of service that includes like care that we didn't get to, that we don't see other places. And then Vietnamese women loved us, okay? Then Vietnamese women loved us. They loved to see us coming. They were very handsy. They did touch all over us. Every time I got fitted for stuff, they'd just be rubbing on me. I let them, right? Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't want to rub on this? But they were really, really into taking care of us. And that's just a thing. That's just Vietnam. That was my experience in Vietnam 10 years ago. And that was my experience in Vietnam last month. That's why I wanted to go back. And it's why I invited so many women to come with me. And it's why it was very different. This was a very different experience, a very different meetup. So Teresa said, put my foot on the screen. It's a regular foot. It's a regular foot. I'll do it. I'll put my feet on the internet. It's a regular foot. Boom, boom. Arch, foot, right? I don't think I have any strange foot. I'll put my feet on the internet. I don't have a strange foot. But sandals are so strange. They're everything. I'm like, this is stupid. Make me some sandals that are for me. These sandals don't exist, but for me. Right, so I had some black suede sandals made. Some sandals with a little black suede strap and tassel. And then I had some coral colored sandals. I was waiting for somebody to say that. Coral colored tassels. No, I didn't. Coral colored sandals, the color that I love, Simone says I have a strange footprint. That's Simone. We spent our pool day, right? We got in the pool, got out the pool, got in the pool, got out the pool. And Simone was like, no, it was who? Janella and Simone were like, your footprint, that's weird. That's weird. Your footprint is one of a kind. That's why I need my shoes made for me. I got my shoes made for me. I'll win that conference. My shoes were for me. So yeah, that is a thing that's different about Vietnam. The women there were very open, very kind to us, and very friendly and warm. There was like a takedown of a barrier. In a lot of places, people in the service world, there's like a barrier between you and that person. But here, there was a little less of that barrier. They were really like, hey, friends. When we walked into the shops, they'd be like, oh, your friends are here. First of all, once they realized that most of the Black women they saw in town were together, they'd be like, oh, your friends are here. Your friends, your friends are 2 doors down. Your friends are here. We would walk around. One of the women who came to the meetup first, one of the women who came to Hoi An first, got a lot of clothes made. And so when we would walk down the street, they would show us her picture to show us the tailor shop that she went to. And they'd be like, your friend. So she was famous. She became famous in Hoi An. And we became known because of her, because she got so much stuff made in the first couple of weeks. And then it was just wonderful to walk around that town. The old town, the ancient town is busy, and we stayed away. Our accommodation was away from the old town. But anytime you would walk into Old Town, there would be us. You would just see it, just walk around. We went to a handful of different shops. Sean, who is Queen of DC, spends a lot of time in Vietnam. So she in the group, she shared some of her favorite shops to get stuff made. And then our hotels referred us to some shops. So anytime I would walk into the shop, I'd be like, I know I'm about to see some Exodus Summit women in here. And there they would be. Sometimes two or three together, sometimes 12 or 13 together. And then the last time Rashida and I went to go pick up our stuff from the leather lady, the last time we went to go pick up stuff, nobody was in there. Nobody else. We turned the corner and there was some white tourists in there. None of us. And I was like, we're closing down, right? We're closing the meetup. It's almost over. And the girl, not the woman who owned the shop, but one of the girls, a younger girl who worked for her, cried when we told her, yes, it's over. Most of the women are gone now or leaving. And Rashida left the next day and I was leaving the day after. That girl cried, wiping tears, right? I don't know how much English she spoke. She's the one who traced my foot every time. I got 3 pairs of shoes made, but they made 4. One pair they remade a second time. So I had 4, she traced my foot 4 different times. And right, that's most of the interaction that I had. But we had been coming in and out of that shop for 2 weeks, 80, a handful of different women over and over again to get fitted, to try some things on, buy some new stuff. That girl cried when that meetup was over, right? There was a removal of the boundary that there often is when you're a tourist in a place in Vietnam. There was a removal of that boundary. It was wonderful. Earthly color brown. Do they use natural linen, wool, cotton, or hemp for clothing so my skin can breathe? Yeah, so I got linen made. I got 2 linen blazers, 2 linen pant and shirt sets, a linen dress. I got all linen. And a silk skirt. I did get a silk skirt. I'm not the best fabric picker. So we went to, I got my stuff made at the most expensive place, right? My stuff cost me normal store prices, but it was made for me and designed by me, right? So my stuff, I put this on the screen the other day, so it may still be here. Present, image file. Oh no, let me show you. I got this made for me, and it probably cost me $130 or something. This is linen, 2 pieces, pants and the shirt, and then these are the shoes I had made. But this is 2 pieces linen, and it was not cheap, right? Now you could have gone to other makers to get things made less expensively, but I went to the most expensive place. That's not what I mean. I don't mean I went to the most expensive place. I mean, I went to the place that the hotel recommended, and it happened to not be the cheapest place. You know what I'm saying? I went to the place that both hotels had at the top of their list. And I got 2 of those sets made. That's shirt and pants, even though I'm wearing it as a jumper. I decided to wear it as a jumper to the conference, but it's a shirt and pants. And I got 2 of those, that red, and I got an orange print, orange linen palm print, orange and like beige. And it was not, yeah, Adelia says custom clothing made with quality fabric should not be inexpensive. Yeah, so this was priced to me like, the maker knows how to make things and the fabric's going to hold up and it's made just for you. That's the price. But then there were places that were a lot less expensive. So I feel like, I want to say 85 and 35, 85 and 45. That's $130 for that set, right? We're not talking about $12, okay? That was not a $12 set. But someone probably, now they were charging me. They were charging me because I was using up more of the fabric. You know what I'm saying? But somebody probably got that made for half that, right? The linen may not have been exactly as good, but that stuff is sewn well. It's sewn well. I've got the first things. I ordered the first thing. The first thing I ordered was the orange pants and shirt and a different color orange dress, linen dress. And when I went to try them on, before they even finished them, they hadn't put the hem in, they hadn't put the buttons on the shirt, right? They hadn't finished them. I was looking at how are these sewn? Because that's a thing that Connie Perry will look at. She will examine your clothes and be like, is this well made or not, right? How is this sewn? That's when I decided to order more stuff from them. So, okay, but what we're talking about is Vietnam. And what an amazing meetup experience it was. So, and okay, how long did it take? More questions. How long did it take? I do want to answer more questions about that because I think that Black women should spend time in Vietnam. Okay. I have nothing to gain from you going. Even this meetup that we did, we didn't charge price. There was no ticket, right? There was no ticket. We didn't make any money from you going to Vietnam. There's nothing for me to profit from this. I didn't make a profit from the meetup. I'm not making a profit from this. But I do think Vietnam is a place that more Black women could spend some time, or Southeast Asia in general. So when you go to, we went to BB Taylor, or Bebe Taylor. And when you go, they ask you how long you're in town. So because they knew I was in town for longer, I had longer turnarounds. Okay. So generally, when I would go and say, here's the thing I want, here's the fabric I wanted in, here's the style, and they would take my measurements, right? They would say, come back the next evening to get it, for the first fitting. Most of my stuff took 2 fittings, not 1. So then then they would be like, can you come back in the next day for the next fitting? And then the next day it'll be done. And then they would package it and deliver it to my hotel. They delivered my stuff to my hotel when it was done. Okay. Now, there were women, every time I was in trying my stuff on, there were women who needed their stuff done the same day. If you got in there early enough, they would get it made for you. You would do the try on in the afternoon. And then by the evening, you would have your stuff in your room. Right? They knew I had a lot of time. And so they took more time with me. But I saw a woman get a beautiful pair of pants. So pants aren't a thing that now that I'm thinking about it, I realize I don't wear certain things because they just never fit, right? And so it didn't occur to me to get those things made for myself in Vietnam, like a lot of the women in the meetup. But fitted, tailored pants never fit me, right? And so that's why I got wide leg elastic pants. But I saw a woman get a beautiful, well-made pair of pants. I mean, that suit, it was a suit, but the pants in particular, fit her so nicely. And those one day pants. We saw a man he was getting a suit, and that was a 2-day suit. And then we saw a woman get a beautiful dress altered while we were there. And I don't know how long, or she was there for the alterations, but I don't know how long. So some people, 1 day, right? Depends on what you're getting made. But 4 days, you're good to go, right? I got so much stuff. I had so much time that I went back a second time, was like, okay, now add this and this and this. What was the last thing I added? I feel like the last thing was my favorite thing. Oh, I got a skirt and blouse from like coordinating, but not the same print. And they whipped them things up in no time. Yeah. Kicking it with, Kim had leather boots made for her husband, 5 hours. Yeah, so it depends on how much time you have and all of that. Trousers, the Brits are like, not pants, Stephanie, trousers. Although you could get underwear made if you wanted. Some women did go to the bra shop, but I didn't hear any good report from women. There was a place that was known for you to get bras made, bras or swimwear. Anybody here? Did anyone here actually get bras made? I know women were going to get bras made, but I never heard a report back. So I don't know if that didn't work or what, or if I just didn't see their results. Yeah, so that's what was different about this meetup. More time, more individualized like services, and more slowed down connection and friendships building instead of just go, do. This was a very different meetup. The next one that we host in Portugal, October 24th in Portugal, won't be that unless you make it that. right? So right now it's just October 24th. We're just going to a restaurant. I don't mean to downplay that. I just mean to say that it's different. But if you want this similar experience in Portugal, y'all need to get together and start planning your stuff. What dates are you going to be there, right? Rashida and I are only going to be there October 24th. But what dates are you going to be there? And how can you make that your experience, right? How can you spend a lot of time with Black women just chilling, right? Being treated well and just chilling. One day I left some women at our hotel. So we stayed at, I would say 40 women were spread out between 3 hotels. And then the other 40 were in a lot of different smaller, like Airbnbs and homestays and stuff. But 40 or 50 of us were only at 3 hotels. And I think my hotel had the most of us, Hoi An Eco Lodge, which is the place I picked because it's in the rice fields. And one day I left some women at the pool to go to my fittings, I think. Some were in the pool, some were beside the pool. We had 2 pools. Our lodge had 2 pools. And they were at the front pool, closer to the breakfast area. And one day I left them there so that I could go into town and do the stuff I needed to do. And when I came back, they were still there, right? Like they were still, like, yes, this is it. This is what I'm talking about. And then Aisha came out from the spa, the little spa. There was a little covered bridge thing, not a covered bridge, a little footbridge that with a canopy of trees over it. And she came walking out of there. She had just left the spa and she was looking so relaxed, just like this, right? And I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is it. This is what we're here for, right? It was a different kind of experience. If you want that to be also your Portugal experience, y'all are going to have to do that, right? Slow down, be there for a while, arrange to be in community, arrange to be in a place where other people are going to be, and arrange to take your time there and spend your time there. But yeah, it was so nice, right? Somebody would dip in and somebody would dip out, right? Janice came in and she was going somewhere, and right, some other people were going out, but they were still there, right? I had gone into town, probably had lunch, gotten a fitting for the clothes and the shoes. Some women got glasses made. I regret not getting glasses made, and I may do that when I go to Mexico next week. I did all of that stuff, walked around, I'm sure, came back, and they were still there, right? Still there, taking over the pool, one of the pools. Yeah, it was a different experience. Okay. Oh, L. Smith says Vietnam was life-changing. Where'd it go? Vietnam was life-changing, healing experience of sisterhood and love. Thank you for the invitation. You're welcome. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Thank you for coming. And thank you for being in community, right? There were some women, most of the women there, I think, had been to another meetup or something, but quite a few had not. I would say 25 or 30 out of 75 or 80 had never been to an Exodus Summit thing before. And they just fit right in. So speaking of Simone, who was talking about my feet, right? Simone, you would never know. You would never know that this was her first, not only was this her first Exodus Summit thing, but she's only been around for a few weeks, right? She had only been in this sphere for a few weeks. You would never have known that. I do think Vietnam, it was a particular experience in a particular place, but wherever we go, there we are. And so this same community, this same group of women, wherever we meet up, that's what it is, right? Maybe a shorter meetup and maybe in a more expensive place, and maybe a different weather or whatever. Wherever we go, that's what it is. My vision, what I missed about Vietnam for me, right? I had only spent 2 months or so in Vietnam back in early 2016. I only spent 2 months there. But what I missed about Vietnam was getting up, riding my bicycle in the rice fields where the oxen and the cows are, right? Um, Going and getting my pho, eating my pho for breakfast, and my Vietnamese coffee. I really missed the Vietnamese coffee with sweetened condensed milk or the coconut coffee. I missed that. I missed getting clothes made. I missed just having a slow, leisurely day over and over and over again, with in an environment that to me feels healing, to me feels peaceful and calm and serene, with people who minded their business, but also people who became friendly. So there's a woman who worked at a spa who was a couple doors down from where I stayed in a homestay. And she would be sitting outside of the spa in her little red chair. And I would just sit down with her and we talked for hours. She spoke good English. But most of it, I'm just trying to figure out what she's saying, right? Ha. Her name was Ha. She said, my name is Ha, like Hanoi. I said, the lady who owns this house, her name is Ha. She said, everybody's Ha. Okay. Everybody's Ha. Everybody Ha in Vietnam. Okay. Okay. Right. I missed those interactions, and I missed so much about Vietnam. You can't go back and recapture the past. So it was different. Hoi An was different. Hoi An was a little busier and a little more neon. There was a lot more neon signs. Used to be the neon signs were all in the old town, but now the neon has moved out to the rice field areas, right? The rice field areas had shrunk, but it was still that same feeling in that same place. I wanted to recapture that for me. And it was so amazing seeing the other Black women from the Exodus Summit community dive in. Anytime I would walk across the hotel, there was a street between the hotel was on two sides of the street. My side was on one side, but the main hotel side was on the other side. When I would come crossing that street, I would look, how many bikes are out here? Because if there's bicycles missing, it means somebody from the Exodus Summit community is out riding her bike in the rice fields, right? We had a couple of really sunny days, but most of the days it was overcast, and we had some rainy days, right? Most of the days it was overcast, and they would just be out riding their bikes. I only rode my bike twice, and my booty was very sore the first time. I was like, I should have. Is there prep work you could do? I should have gone to the gym and gotten on the bike a few days. My booty was hurting. Okay, but I got to see everybody out riding their bikes, out swimming in the pool or laying by the pool, out sitting at breakfast for hours and hours. It was amazing. It was amazing. Oh, Simone says, instead of going to Mexico, I'm thinking about going back to Vietnam. It's a special place. So that's why I said I disagree with Rashida on that one point. So Rashida made a video, her recap of the meetup. But there is something, and someone was like, what's so special about Vietnam? Now, the person was just being a hater, right? Was just being a hater, saying that Black women should go to Black countries. But I disagree with Rashida's response where she said that there's nothing special about Vietnam. It was just the women. But there is something special. It's a confluence of things that make it special. It is the cost of living. It is the quality of service. It is the food. The food is delicious. They do good food there, right? I remember in Indonesia enjoying the food, in Cambodia enjoying the food, but it was all fried rice. Nasi goreng. Now, I love me some nasi goreng, okay? But it was all nasi goreng. But Vietnam, you get this, you get that, you get the soups, you order your stuff, and they give you all the ingredients, and you put it together yourself, which is the thing I really appreciate about it. You get to see all the fresh ingredients. You add as much or as little as you want. That banseo, that pancake, there was something special. It was a confluence of things that made Vietnam special. So, Simone, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And the coffee. Okay. Okay. Good stuff. So it was a coming together of a lot of things that made it a special place, or makes it a special place. I think Southeast Asia has a lot to offer us. And I think it's, if you can get over how far, how far it is and how long it takes to get to Southeast Asia, I think it has a lot to offer us. Vietnam is not a place that's easy to move to, and I don't know that I would want to live there. It's a communist country. So they have rules that we're not even used to. I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure there are rules that we're not used to having to deal with. And I will never be able to speak or read Vietnamese. And I don't know that I want to be in a place where I'm always going to be illiterate. Plus, they don't have a real smooth process to residency, right? So I'm not saying move to Vietnam, but I'm saying go. Go. Get yourself in a small town in Vietnam. Hoi An is a good choice, but don't stay in the old town. Stay out of town in the rice fields. But if you do, I don't know what I'm saying. Vietnam is a good choice, but if you go to Southeast Asia, take your time and let people do the things that they're good at, right? In Thailand also, they're good at food. In Thailand, they're really good at food, and they're good at spa services and stuff. Let them do the things that they're good at. Utilize their stuff, right? Yeah, the distance is far. It's far. It's far. Right? But that's why this had to be a weeks long meetup, right? Like I said, I got there on the 14th and I left on March 2nd, right? So 2 weeks and a couple of days. It had to be a long meetup to go that far. Some of the women who showed up at this meetup were already in Southeast Asia, because quite a few women in the Exodus Summit community are already in Southeast Asia. So some of them were already there. Some of the women weren't already in Southeast Asia before, but came to the Southeast Asia for the meetup and spent a good chunk of time. And then there were some women who were there for, 6 or 7 days, but I think more were there for weeks and weeks. Yeah, Queen Lizzie says the distance is worth it. It's far. Y'all saw me turn on my do not disturb, right? Did you hear that? Just my phone is just doing whatever it wants, and then people don't believe me when I say it's not working. I didn't get your message. But it's things like this. Like my do not disturb has been on for quite a while. And now it's like, oh, I'm going to turn off. And then when I turn it off, it'll turn back on. I don't want to talk about that. I didn't see Michelle's original comment, but don't forget to get pockets is right? I think this is about getting dresses made. Put pockets in them dresses. You're the designer. Put pockets in them dresses, right? My thing was the curved hem. I like a curved hem on my tops. Nowadays, things are not made with the same quality. And so nowadays, a lot of tops have such a blunt ending. Curve the hem on my top, please. Sometimes I want to untuck it. Oh, yeah. Oh, I mentioned some women got some glasses made. Some women got some new teeth made. Okay. Some women got some new hair. I haven't seen the new hair. Pardon me. I beg your pardon. Give me just a second. Okay. I need to find my. Oh, had to go back to the group chat for just a second because I haven't seen the new hair. Okay, girl. Beautiful. I hope you love it, Catrice. That's beautiful. Okay, gonna make me want to blow out my hair. Okay, listen, yes, new teeth. A couple of women had dental work done in Vietnam. Amazing. So I don't think, I don't think Vietnam is a place to move to. They don't make it easy. So I doubt it. My answer is I don't know, Bliss Singh, but I doubt it. The question is, can U.S. citizens buy houses or land in Vietnam? I doubt it, right? It's a communist country and things don't work the way we're used to them working. I'm talking about visiting. In Southeast Asia, I think the easier places to move to, Thailand and Malaysia are easier places to move to than Thailand. Thailand and Malaysia are easier places to move to than Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia. Although Indonesia's made some changes, and in the Exodus ASAP community, someone is coming in to talk about the new visa in Indonesia. I don't remember who, and I don't remember if it's a digital nomad visa or a tourist or a permanent residency visa. I'm gonna give you more information about that, about what's happening. But there are some changes. So Indonesia has made it a little bit easier to move there than it used to be. Sometimes when people say they live in Vietnam, they really just visit there all over and over and over again as a tourist, right? Vietnam is not an easy place to get residency, legal residency. You are there as a tourist over and over and over. All right. Yeah, Indonesia is a Muslim country, but Bali is, what is it? Buddhist. What is it? What is Bali? Yeah. Malaysia and Indonesia are Muslim countries, but I'm going to say this. I don't mean this in an offensive way, but I would say Muslim light, right? Muslim light. That's how I would describe them. To me, a communist country is more of a concern. Yeah. Not only because there's different things. There are rules, and even in a Muslim country, there are rules and stuff in countries that are Hindu. Thank you, Bali is Hindu. There are rules and stuff that we just don't know to even look for, right? Any country, even Singapore. Even Singapore has a rule about chewing gum. You can't. I think you can't bring chewing gum into Singapore or something like that. There are just places that they just have rules that we're not used to, right? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, and if you're talking about moving to another country, I think buying land should not be at the top of your list. Let's unlearn some of the dirty capitalist scum practices that we have embraced in the United States. There's some ways about the United States that don't translate when you move to another country, including buying land, buying a house. Those aren't necessarily how people live in those countries. So you should live in a place, I think you should live in a place before you start talking about buying land in a place, right? If it's not the land of your ancestors, if we're not talking about you going back to Grenada, right? Which, I'm in favor of. If you're not talking about going back to Grenada or someplace where you have family, you have a connection. If you're going to a new place, can I buy land here should not be at the top of your list. I think that should not be at the top of your list. What should be, the other things depend on you, right? So I just said, I don't want to go to a place where I'm always going to be illiterate. That may not be a concern for you. But I think, can I buy land here? Scratch that off. That is American capitalism at its worst. We shouldn't be buying land in places where we're not in community. We shouldn't be focusing on, I'm going to move to a place so I can buy property. You shouldn't. I don't know. Owning land in general is a strange concept, but owning land in a place where you don't even live, where you don't even know people, super scummy. It can be. Mostly. Super colonizerish. Super greedy. Let's unlearn some of that, right? Let's be in community with people in a place and live in a place before we talk about buying in a place. Also, once you get there, you may very well learn that they don't really have a housing market like that. And if you buy land, you're going to own that land past the day you die, and nobody's going to buy it from you, and your kids aren't going to want it. You're stuck like Chuck. That's how land ownership works for a lot of people who buy land abroad in a place that they don't know anything about, right? They end up it can end up not being a good situation. So we don't know what the American capitalist scummy pig practices are that we have internalized. We we don't know what they are until we go and live with other people in other places and see how they live, right? That's how we unlearn that. The other week, last Saturday, Clarice Mocha Moselle and I got together here on this channel. We talked about decolonizing your faith. There are parts of us that we need to decolonize that we don't even know yet. We haven't even addressed yet. We don't even know that the idea of land ownership is a colonizer's seed in us trying to break through. We don't even know that. There's some parts of my life that I'm like, I have seen me decolonize that thing. An obvious thing is my hair, right? I have seen myself go from my hair needs to go down, it needs to be flowing, and it needs to blow in the wind, to my hair don't move. My hair don't move. When I was in middle school and high school, my best friend's dad he was called the Rapping Reverend in Columbus, Ohio. And he said, good hair is hair that stays where you put it, right? I got that good hair. It stays where I put it. But I've decolonized my hair, I think. And I'm working to decolonize my full appearance, right? What parts of me do I think are beautiful because the colonizer says that's what beautiful is? And what parts of me do I think are not beautiful because the colonizer says that's ugly, that's the worst, right? How do I decolonize my beauty practices or my standard of beauty? How do I and nobody really has beef when you do that. Some people do, I guess. And some people did. No, that's not true. Some people did, because this was, 15 years ago at least. Some people were like, all right, well, when are you going to do your hair? We've worked to decolonize pieces of ourselves. As you do that, more pieces, more opportunities spring up, right? So last week we talked about decolonizing spiritual practices. Some people didn't like that. But I think you're just a step behind. You're not on a different path. I think you're not on a different path. If you're decolonizing any part of your life, at some point you will also want to decolonize your spiritual practices, right? The hair thing is a really good example of that, because some of the same women who, when I started going natural, when all these natural hair YouTubers started springing up on YouTube, some of the same women who then were like, ugh, that's awful, now are natural, right? The person who was earlier in that conversation has to take a little bit of heat or smoke, but also has to be gracious when those same smoke givers join in on the journey. Now I have to be gracious to you, even though you called me, you said I looked, you said I sounded. Now I have to be gracious to you in a way that you weren't gracious to me. So when you see somebody decolonizing some parts of their lives, remember that you're on that same path. You're just a few steps back. When you see someone decolonizing their money stuff, or whatever it is, the way their family looks, their sexuality and their definition of what a woman is, what a family looks like in their life for them. Quiet on the judgment, because you're going to get there. You're going to get there. And then you're going to expect those same people to welcome you in. Quiet the judgment. Y'all are not on a different path. You're just not on the same step. You're not on the same mile marker, but you're on that same path. That's something that I am also learning, as well as I'm on both sides of this conversation. I've had to practice it. And I have had to be the one who's extending grace to people. Oh, yes, your natural hair looks great. Like, even though you said I looked undone, and when am I gonna do something to my hair? And why would I want to go out in public like that? Now I have to be like, yo, yeah, you've done a great job. And here's some here's some tips that might help you, right? Even though you said that I was entertaining witchcraft, now I have to be like, oh, nice. Oh, that's nice. You have a little altar. That's good, right? Now I have to encourage you. You're on the same journey, friend. It's a journey. You're on the journey. Okay. Careful with the judgment. I've also learned that the things that we are most emotionally reactive about are the things that we need to address. Instead of letting it, hi, Danielle Forbes. Instead of just accepting that that's just how I feel about this, maybe that's the thing you want to examine. Why do I feel so fired up about this particular thing? Because I also felt really fired up about hair at one time. I saw a picture of Al Sharpton getting a relaxer, and I was mad. I was mad. Why would a man get a relaxer when he doesn't have to? I have to, right? I had to examine that. So those of you who got fired up about that conversation, about the spiritual practices, those of you who get fired up about this conversation about buying land in other countries, examine it. I'm not saying you can't be mad at me. You can be mad at me. But you want to examine it because you're on that same path. You're on that same journey. Right? You're at a different mile marker. Yeah. I have feelings about people thinking that they know the way to do something. I feel like we're too old for that. We're too old. You're too old to believe that your way is the only way about anything. We're too old for that, right? Even when we talk about packing bags and people are like, no, 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 carry on only, carry on only. Like, okay, I'm glad that works for you. It stresses me out. Imagine me traveling for 6 months with carry on only. I did it before, but I was only going to beaches and hammocking in beaches. Imagine carry on only, and I have to have like an actual skirt and blouse situation, actual shoes to wear to a conference. There's no one way. Not for packing stuff, not for not for renting versus buying. You have to have a home. You have to be a homeowner to be a legitimate person. Not for your hair. Emotions are data. That's a good way to put it. Hi, Alfreda. Emotions are data. That's a really good way to put it. Maribel 2024. If you find yourself triggered, there's something there for you to reflect within yourself. We're very used to projecting instead of reflecting. We're very used to that. And that's a thing that I think the Christian church that I happen to know in the United States, right? That's the only place I've been to churches. That church has really taught us that. It's you. It's never me. Because I'm the right one here. Yes, reflect within yourself. Those feelings come from something. Reflect them. Why do I think that? Why do I believe that? Do I actually believe that? Or have I just been told that over and over again? Anastasia, Faith, race 2. I had to decolonize because Black is a color just like white and brown. Who am I? Because the color is definitely not it. Right? Yeah. 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 Hair really touched some things off for Black women. That is a thing that we will always owe a debt of gratitude to the natural hair movement for, because it was one of the first layers that we got to peel off in the colonizer life, in the life of people who have been I don't know, colonized. It was one of the first layers that we got to take off in my generation anyway, right? I talked the other day about my things that I don't have any plans to decolonize. I love to see a Black woman with a name that she gave herself, right? She decided she was going to decolonize her name. I love to see a Black woman decolonize her name. We've taken time and effort to decolonize our hair and our beauty standards and other ways of life. I love to see a Black woman who you can, that's her, she gave herself that name. I love to see it. I don't have any plans to decolonize my name. I don't have any plans to. I like it. I can spell it. I don't ever have to repeat it when I tell people my name. I don't have any plans to change my name. But what I'm not going to do is sit in judgment of Black women who do and tell them what I know is right. I hope that people will extend that same grace to Black women who are decolonizing other parts of their lives, including their spiritual practices. That's what I want to say. That same grace that you want when you decide that you're no longer going to just wear your hair flowing and down, right? But you're also going to wear your hair growing up, right? When you decide that you are no longer going to be whatever the colonized version of you, the colonized looking version, when you're no longer going to do that, that same grace that you want, extend that same grace to women who are decolonizing other parts of their lives. Yeah, Catrice, since my hair's been blown out, I've gotten the most compliments. I can't wait to count them when it's in its natural state. Yeah, white supremacist thinking has a far reach. And that reach is deep down in us. It's not just outside of us. It's deep down in us. And it takes learning and growing. It takes trial and error, right? And it takes a whole lot of grace with ourselves. And it takes understanding that some people are their mile marker zero and they're going to stay at mile marker zero. And we're just a little further on this journey. Yeah. Yeah. Francesca Fox says folks getting mad or triggered are likely on the pathway to transformation in their life. Yeah, that's step zero. I think step zero. Why do I feel like this? Why is this making me so mad? Why is this upsetting me so much? Years ago, I dated this guy, and I don't remember very much about like conversations with him, but one conversation I remember him saying to me, "Why are you so upset?" I don't remember what we were talking about. I don't remember what the thing was, but I remember sitting back and being like, well, why am I so upset? And I think I've taken that with me all these years later. I dated him right before I took my sabbatical, right before 2015. And I have no idea. When I see him on Instagram, that's the only thing I hear. Why are you so upset? I don't remember what we were talking about. I have no idea. But that's what I took from that relationship. Yeah, why am I so upset? This ain't got nothing to do with me. Why am I so upset? I don't remember what it was. But yeah. And then boom, next thing you know, I've changed another thing that I think, right? Dorita says carrying luggage is a job. I don't want one. Girl, listen, I carried my bag. So I've got a lot of bags right now. But listen, between the man at the airport, I'll pay a man at the airport to push my little cart. I do push it most of the time. This time when I got out of the Uber in Da Nang, the Uber driver put my stuff on the cart for me. And so I pushed it myself. But if there had been a man, I would have let him push it in there for me. I think Rashida taught me that. And then here at the hotel, if I get to the door of the hotel and somebody's not there to take my bags, I let them know about themselves. That's the thing that I do. That is a time when I will raise a fuss. Right? Y'all don't do service, right? There's no luck. I see luggage carts here. Where's the man? I'm leaving my bag here. I'm not even taking my bag to the counter. Okay, I'm not taking my bag to the counter. So if it gets off the here, when I got, where am I? Las Vegas. So I didn't fly. When is the last? I took a shuttle. Oh, Los Angeles. I flew into Los Angeles. Airport shuttle. It was a woman driver. She lifted my bags into the shuttle, right? So I go push the cart. She lifted them off the shuttle. I'm not dragging my bags, right? And then get to the airport, get to the hotel. She's taking them out of the van, and there's no person there to pick up my bags. I'm not dragging these bags into the hotel. There's a place where the person's supposed to be, right? And then the man gonna say, "Hi, ma'am, do you want help with your bags?" Yes, I do. You see, I have 4 bags. That is a time when I'm like, what do you think? Generally, I talk to strangers with kindness because I'm Connie Perry's daughter. But every now and then, I will get smart with somebody because I'm Connie Perry's daughter, right? Like, yes, you see me struggling with this. I'll be in the room, right? And then, hallways are always carpeted in the hotel. I'm not dragging my stuff through there. I actually physically, even though I'm checking bags when I fly, I'm physically handling my bags very little. I'm 50. Somebody else can do it. Somebody else can do it. Sometimes there are people that he was on the phone, that's why I rolled my eyes. Now I remember he was on the phone. Doing all of that. Do I want help with my bags? I'm generally not that person, but there are things that, everybody has things. This is a thing, right? This is a thing that triggers me that maybe I need to examine. I'm like, if I was a white woman, my bags would have been on that cart. Just roll my eyes. I don't know that I said a word to that man. Rolled my eyes and looked at my bags and kept walking. You're going to get it on that cart, okay? You're going to put my bags on that cart. Adelia says, did we talk about the Lisbon meetup already? We did. Lisbon, October 24th. Rashida and I are passing through Lisbon, Portugal at the same time on the same day. And so Exodus Summit and Blackset Global are going to do a mashup meetup, which means it's going to be co-ed. It's going to be men there. Okay. Prepare yourselves. Okay. And we're getting together in Lisbon. We don't have details about where it's going to be. And the restaurant is probably going to have a maximum, right? So we're going to have to figure out a way to communicate with you. If you're in the Exodus Summit community, then go to the events section. Let me see if it already exists. Meetup may already exist in the events section. Events, scroll to October. Springtime is here. I see a bunch of meetups on the calendar now for spring. October 24th, Lisbon. Okay, so the meetup already exists. What details are there? Oh, she put the name of the restaurant in the meetup. So she may not be concerned with the number of attendees, because I wouldn't put the restaurant there if I was concerned about how many people. So the restaurant may have a good capacity. So yes, October 24th, Lisbon, Portugal, Exodus Summit, and Blacks at Global Mashup Meetup. Co-ed for Black people. If you want more, if you want that meetup to be more extended and you want more things, I would get inside in the Exodus community right away. I would get in the community now. If you're a woman, if you're a Black woman, and I would start looking at things that you want to do while you're there, picking your dates for how long you're going to stay, and looking at what you want to do while you're there. And maybe even I would share what hotel I'm staying in if I were you, and tell people this is where I'm going to stay, and hopefully you can get some friends there. It's amazing during a meetup. Let me get the Exodus Summit link. It's amazing during a meetup to stay in the place with everyone else or with some of the other people, right? It's a different experience. Every time you walk around the corner in the hotel, there they are. There's somebody, right? Even if it's not everybody or a good percentage, it's somebody who's there for the same thing you're there for. Every time you walk to breakfast, there's somebody new you can sit with. It's nice to stay in the place. So that's what I would do. If I was coming, I feel like that little piece of lint or whatever that was flew into my lip gloss. They gave us lip gloss in the goodie bag, in the bag this week at the conference. So that's what I would do. If I was a Black woman and I knew I was coming to Lisbon, Portugal for the meetup, I would RSVP in the Exodus Summit events section at exodussummit.com/community, right? I'll go to the events section and RSVP. And then I would start looking around at what I wanted to do in Lisbon or around Europe or Africa, right? Lisbon makes it easy to go to Europe or Africa. And I would figure out how long I could stay. And then I would book a hotel for some time and tell people where I'm going to be. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Let me look in here. Yeah, I did fly into whatever that was, lint or whatever. Let me drink some water. I don't plan to do a meetup in New York. Oh, but that's the meetup that I missed that time. So maybe I should. Let me see if y'all have something scheduled while I'm there. I'm there for that conference and I did not have any plans to. Let me see what y'all have scheduled. The New York Exodus Summit Squad does meetups on the regular. Let me see if you already have something on the calendar. There's nothing yet on the calendar for April. Let me talk to the women there. That's Deborah. Deborah planned. Deborah is the. Let me talk to the women there and see, because that is the group that I've not been able to kick it with. The first time something happened, and then the second time I tried to go to the meetup, that tech snafu thing had me stuck in California and I couldn't get to New York. I hadn't planned to, but I guess I should. Let me think on it. So April, anybody from Cree Girl, are you in the meetup squad? And yeah. Okay. Midlife Mama in Motion. We'll aim to get something on the calendar. Let me tell you. So the conference is April, it's a conference retreat. I don't really know what to call it. April. Now, is a middle of the week meetup a thing that could happen? Because the thing starts on, it's 9th, April 9th, 10th, 11th. So April 8th is a Tuesday. how does that, would a Tuesday, I would assume Saturdays are really hard, but I would assume that during the week it's also really hard. Saturdays are hard because of space, but during the week is really hard because of work. So April 8th, I'm available. I can get to New York a day early. Or the 12th or 13th, but you'd have to tell me ahead of time. April 8th or 12th or 13th. Right now I was planning on leaving on the 12th, but I can stay on the 12th or 13th. So I'm just waiting for somebody to say what day they would. Y'all tell me. New York crew, y'all tell me. Do you have like a schedule, a regular schedule? So if you have something already scheduled that weekend, tell me. If you don't, I'm not in the WhatsApp community. So if you don't, that's when I would like to do it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Cause that's that 2 times I've tried to get to New York for a meetup, and both times something happened. I can't remember the first time, but the second time was that Microsoft, the tech thing, and the airlines were down and whatever. Atlanta, I made it up to Atlanta. I missed that Atlanta meetup that time, but I made it up to Atlanta. I got to Atlanta. So I still owe New York a drop in. The Classy Hacker says, can someone do a March thing in Playa del Carmen, Mexico? You can do it. You can put it on the calendar. Even if you don't know where yet, you can put it on the Exodus Summit calendar. Just go to Exodus Summit, make an event in Playa del Carmen, Mexico for the dates that you want it to be. And then let somebody else who lives there join in and say, hey, I want to go. People do look at the events section. So you just go to exodussummit.com/community. It's a Facebook group right now. It's still on Facebook. We're looking to move that off of Facebook, but it's still on Facebook now. So you go to exodussummit.com/community, join the Facebook group, look in the events section for events that are already happening, or make an event by just creating a post. Anyone can create a meetup. Even though I said there's a New York crew and they have a schedule, that anyone can say, I want to hold a meetup at this place at this time. It's easiest if you say this date, this location, this time, right? And I have maybe get a table for 4, say 3 people want to join me this date, this location, this time. That's the easiest way to do a meetup. If it's going to be bigger, then you have to have logistics. But normally, how I would do a meetup, right? Like I'm in Las Vegas. If I was a thoughtful person, I would be like, here's the pancake restaurant that I'm going to be at on Sunday at this time. Join me there, right? Anyone can host a meetup. Even though some cities already have like an organized WhatsApp community, that doesn't mean that only the person who created the WhatsApp group can create a meetup. Anyone can create a meetup. They just happen to have a schedule. The New York crew is just organized and they have a schedule. And so it's easiest to jump in on something they have already planned, but that doesn't mean that's the only way. You can plan it. You just say, right? Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'd like to meet up with some women at this place, this time on this day. That's a meetup, right? Especially if you just book a table for 4, table for 6. And then if more people say they want to come, then you can see if you can get a couple tables. Don't let it get too much. Don't let it be too much. But it doesn't have to be in the city you live in. It can be in a city you're visiting. So if you're going to Playa del Carmen, Classy Hacker, you can make a meetup. You can create a meetup. You know that there's some women around. So yeah, anybody can do it. Okay, so Christian, hi, Christian Jane. We should be up at Sunday in Brooklyn on the 13th in Williamsburg. Oh, we should meet up. Sunday in Brooklyn on the 13th at 11 a.m. So Sunday brunch sounds like a whole production. How is this a time and a place when we can just walk in? Why is this like lit flying around here? Can we just walk in and be seated? Or what? Are we going to be waiting for hours? Or do you have to book something in advance and like pay a deposit? Would we be able to get a table for 20? Yeah, busy on the weekends. That's why I said Tuesday. Listen, Tuesday the 8th, I'm available. I can get there early. If anybody wants to do dinner, lunch or dinner on Tuesday the 8th, or drinks or something. I know weekday stuff is hard for a lot of people, but weekends in New York City seem that I don't know how they do it. I don't know how y'all do meetups in New York City on the weekends. Oh, is that Palm Sunday? April 13th. Yeah. Oh no, girl. April 8th, I would pick the 8th if I was the person planning this, and I'm not going to plan anything. Okay? Understand that. If I was the person planning this, I would pick the 8th. Y'all tell me what time. I can take a nap. If it's got to be late in the evening, I'll take a nap. I don't care. So I've put this out in the world. Y'all tell me. Okay? Y'all tell me. Yeah, it seems hard. That's why I don't want to plan things, because it seems hard on a weekend in the springtime. But I'll be there. You tell me and I'll be there. Lindsay says Harlem is less crazy. Somebody tell me a time and a place and I'll be there, and that'll be the meetup. Okay. But if y'all already have a thing planned in April and it's that week or that weekend, there's no need to add in a second thing. I'll just be at that, you know? Okay. Cree Girls checking the group chat. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Christian Jane, happy to take the lead on planning Tuesday the 8th around dinner time. Okay, I'll figure out a place. Okay, thank you. Tuesday the 8th, New York City. Okay, Tuesday the 8th, New York City. Late, like evening. Evening of Tuesday the 8th in New York City. I think, so I don't really know for this conference. I don't really know the schedule for the days. So I may be able to do lunch or dinner another day as well, but I know Tuesday. I know I can come Tuesday. I'm going to mark that on my calendar now. Exit, so I don't forget. 8th, Tuesday the 8th. I'm just going to block off the whole evening. I'm going to go from, which one is Eastern time? I'm going to start at 4 p.m. Eastern time and block the whole 4 to 10 p.m. Exodus NYC meetup. That way I'll know to get to I'll book my train ticket for the early in the day. Okay, thank you. If you'll let us know in the Facebook group, we'll make the meetup, make the actual event in the Facebook group, and let us know the maximum. Like if there's a maximum of, seriously, if it's 12 people, if it's only 12 people that can come, say that, right? If you have a table for 12, say that. And then anyone else who wants to book a table in that same restaurant can book their own table. Make this as easy as possible. This is a meetup that could be 40 people, could be. But planning something for 40 people in a restaurant sucks. Okay, so make this as easy as you can. Thank you. All right, good. All right, Crystal says on her calendar. Okay, good. All right, because I do owe New York City a visit. Thank you for asking that, because I do owe New York City a visit. That's a thing that I have not done. All right, so we've talked meetups and events then. October 24th, Lisbon. April 8th, New York City. Uh, March, tomorrow, tomorrow, Mexico. Uh, that's what I've got on my calendar. And Bogota, July 5. July 5, Bogota, Colombia, also co-ed. Bogota and Lisbon will be co-ed meetups. I don't know about Delaware, Kimberly, but probably. I guess yes. I guess we'll do Delaware because I'll be going back and forth between Delaware. But let's aim for after the 8th. So I get back from the conference on the 12th. Right now, my plan is to leave the conference and get back, or the retreat, get back on the 12th, and then be in Delaware through the next couple of weeks. So yeah. Or maybe before. Yeah. I don't know. Delaware also. So if you're planning, if you wanted to, if New York City is far and you live in near Delaware or Philadelphia, keep your ears on for a Delaware meetup. Yeah. If going to New York City is would be too much. Okay. Okay, friends. Thank you very much for hanging out. Okay. And did we cover all the dates? March, Mexico, caravan. Some of the members of Exodus ASAP are caravanning to Mexico for their residency in May. So if you're in the Exodus ASAP membership, that's how you can find out more about that. If you're not in the membership yet, you can join us at exodusasap.com. This is not the free Facebook group. This is the paid membership. March is residency month. exodusasap.com. The members are getting their residencies together. Panama, Mexico, and the top of the list. Panama, Mexico, and Jamaica actually are at the top of the list for places that women inside of the community are actively working on residencies. With a few other countries sprinkled in. Colombia, some other stuff. Rashida's working on actual citizenship in the UK. Her passport, I guess she's a citizen. Or I don't know how that works. She's working on her UK passport. She was born in the UK, but she doesn't have a UK passport. So she's working on that. So we're working on these things. And she's renewing her Mexico residency, or I think going from temporary to permanent. So if you want to follow along on those processes, join us in exodusasap.com. I don't know how much of the residency process I'm going to be able to share on the internet out in public, but I will be sharing that inside of ASAP for the members who are coming behind us. So if you want to see what the regularization process is like, getting residency in Mexico through regularization, join us in ASAP. I'll share a little bit out in the world, but the actual details will be inside of the closed community for obvious reasons, I think. Okay. All right. Yeah, I fly tomorrow to San Diego so that we can cross the border. And yeah, this time next week, I still won't have residency, but this time in 2 weeks, I'll be a resident of Mexico, I believe. All right. Okay. Thank you very much for helping me work out some of my travel plans. Oh, wait, Levon. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Levon Hawkins. I hope you have a wonderful day. Yeah, thank you for helping me work out my travel plans and my meetup plans here. And thank you for those of you who raised your hands to organize a meetup. All right, friends, I hope you're having a wonderful March. Oh, Women's Day. It's International Women's Day. This was the first time I ever heard of International Women's Day. I was in Vietnam, and I had met a girl named Jazzy from Chicago, and she was like, everything is closed. I asked my landlord what has going on, and she was like, it's Women's Day. All the rest, like some of the restaurants and stuff were closed. So this is the day that we got on our mopeds and went to Da Nang, International Women's Day 2016. Yeah, time changes tomorrow. Ugh. Time is moving. It's March. We're full into March. Time is moving. Yeah, time changes tomorrow. Spring forward. Okay. The website for Exodus ASAP is exodusasap.com. I'll link to it here. And I'll put it in the description of the video in just a second. Hit the like button before you go. Thank you all for being so kind and generous and gracious here. Remember to be that way with yourself. Okay? Those of you who were kind and gracious to me, you should be that way with yourself, please. And thank you. Remember that. And I'll see you guys again real soon. Happy day. Happy Saturday. Bye, guys.